2, 1. There you go.
Hi.
That was very quick. I was watching you. It was like a news reading or something. Then it's 5, 4, 3, 2 on the phone. 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Welcome back to 2023.
2023, not 2022.
2023.
How
How was it? Did you have a nice Christmas and New Year?
Wonderful.
Was it good?
It was wonderful.
Good. Nice
How
to have
about
some
you?
time off, isn't it, with the kids and
Yeah.
rejuvenate and then learn how much they stress you out and then want to get back to work.
I find any time off makes me want to get back as quick as possible.
No, I enjoyed it, but I'm just so excited to get back into 2023.
So what's with you then, because this will be the first episode of 2023, what's your kind of, in your mind, where do you want to go with it? As in not the episode, I mean like 2023.
So 2023 for me, thank you, love, is my aim is that by the end of this year, I will have 20 staff.
Where are we at now?
7, 8. 8, including Chris. 8.
So you're at 8 staff, and now you want to be at 20 by the end of the year. That's cool.
Yeah. So I want to grow. My dream is like, and obviously when you have time off and stuff, you realise what you most like. It gives you time to like get clarity. So I absolutely love talking about insurance. I absolutely love creating awareness, making sure that people are aware of what is important in terms of what's available, how to understand it. And that's what I love doing, right? I also love speaking to clients, but I think I can teach people to do that. I think I can teach people how to speak to clients in a way that makes it very easy for them to understand, makes it easier for them to recognize themselves a value in insurance. So what I want to try and do is that over the course of the first 6 months of the year, my aim is I want to just be ideally a content creator and growing the business. That's my aim. So that for me involves obviously doing a lot of social media, doing a lot of content, getting to events, speaking at places, doing more sort of, I think, more industry facing things and client facing, because I've said it over and over again plenty of times. The industry are my clients. However, the industry also have access to public, like, being able to speak in a public way. So, working with providers to be able to get more awareness created for insurance and speaking to other advisors, because it is a domino effect. The more people that speak to people about creating awareness, the more chance we've got of actually being able to get to the public and have it like as a knock-on effect. Is the more people that know about it, the more people are going to talk about it, the more people are then going to ask, where did you get that from, or who did you speak to? So it all goes up and up. And I just want to by the end of the first half of the year, I don't want to be speaking to clients anymore
at all.
I want it to be where we did it at the back end of last year, where like basically Millie was doing everything up until the point of speaking to a client. So I was I wanted to see if the business could run without me being present, because I knew that in the beginning of this year, my main aim was to, like, let's be serious. If I'm recruiting up to 20 staff, training, teaching, creating content, speaking, like trying to speak at events,
multiple full-time jobs,
being the manager, that's if everything runs bloody smoothly and there's no issues, which that's never the case. Like, I want to be, my main aim is always to be someone who changes the industry, to be recognised as, to the public, to the client face, and that if they think of insurance, they think of Carla Edwards.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to get that if you're not putting in a lot of time and effort into it. And obviously, because I'm trying to run a business and earn money, it's not something that I could do straight away. I've got to sort of transition it. So I've got to bring in staff who are then obviously going to do more business. And then I can then concentrate on growing the Protection Parent. So it's more of a dominating firm in the industry and grow me. Like, I want to that's my dream. Like I want people, like the way we think of, like, you know, you say clean and you think of Mrs. Hinch, you think of Understanding Money, you think of Martin Lewis, you know, that's
Joe
in my
Wicks type
brain.
stuff, isn't
Yeah,
it?
fitness, Joe Wicks. Like in my head, I want people to think insurance and think me.
Like a UK name, like a household, like Martin Lewis is like household name, but yeah, it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the problem is that the reason why I think that isn't going to be anytime soon is because there's actually nobody doing that at the minute. Like there's nobody creating client-facing engagement, and that's what the gap I want to try and fill. And you know, if people,
You see, and I tell you who's doing this really well out of what your sector, and you've had her on your podcast before. So Sarah from the Mortgage Mum,
yeah, amazing,
has really lent. I like the last year, right at the end, I really saw her popping up everywhere, and I was like,
yeah, she's all over TV and that. What she done?
I was like,
she was
wow,
amazing. What she's created is absolutely amazing. And
I remember when you interviewed her, and you said you were like, this is the type of thing. This was ages ago. Yeah.
She was the second episode, I think, one of the second or third episodes. So I spoke to her, maybe it might be coming up like 2 years ago nearly. And I loved her, and I loved her energy, and I loved what she, and like we really clicked. And I remember saying to her afterwards, that was when I was still working as in under a firm, and I was like, I really want what you've got, like that's what I want to create. And she was like, she was really encouraged me, and she gave me loads of advice. She's a lovely lady. And it's amazing to see how much success she's getting, and how much they're growing. Like their team are growing massively, and that's what I want, but for insurance. And
so it's showing, isn't it? Is that it's possible. I could see you doing. I could massively see. You're the only person I could see doing it, to be honest.
Well, if you think about it, Ash, right? Realistically, I don't know what the official stats are, so let's just not give numbers. But
because people will get very funny in the comments.
a very low amount of people have insurance in the UK versus mobile phone insurance. Very low amount of people even know what critical illness cover is, and a very even littler number of people understand what children's critical illness is. Now, if you imagine if you had someone who was constantly over and over again trying to create awareness for that, those numbers would naturally start to go up, and then people would be more concerned about the actual product. I think the reason why there's nobody out there, or the public aren't really bothered about insurance, is because they don't know about it. If you don't know about something, you're not going to care about it. And I'd say quite comfortably 90% of the clients I've spoken to previously all say the same thing to me when they're finished. Oh, I'm going to tell everyone about you. Oh yeah, I've already spoke to so-and-so about you because I can't believe I didn't know this. Like, especially people who've had advice previously and had shit advice previously, and they didn't understand, you know. And then I speak to them and I give them cover, like give much more cover, like upgraded children's cover, like your global treatments, your fracture cover, things they didn't even know existed. And at the end they go, oh my God, I can't believe, like, where do you even go to find this? And I'm like, you can't go anywhere, because like, what you do, like if you put that in Google, all you're going to really get is go compare sites, you know, comparisons and people trying to sell to you. There's nowhere that's actually, hi, this is what insurance is. Do you want to understand what critical illness is? Do you want to check your documents and then match it up against what I'm saying? Like, I would love to be, my dream would be to be that person, is to, like, you know, there's a website, Carla Edwards or the Protection Parent, whatever it might be, and it's literally not a sales place, a safe place for people to actually understand insurance. Like, that's what I want. And for me to be able to do that financially, I need to have staff so that I can financially live and help and still run a business. And I need time. And time's the biggest thing, because when you're on the way to trying to create a business, it takes a lot of your time and energy up. And I need more staff to be able to give me more time. It sounds a bit weak, so obviously it's going to take time.
No, it's not. It makes complete sense.
It will eventually come back around.
It makes complete sense. It's exactly what it is. It is what it is. As you said, it's time. You can't go any further without, like, it's a really funny one. Like, it's that term of cash rich and time poor, or time rich and cash poor. And it's that problem is that everybody wants money when they don't have it. So you don't have money. What I'm saying is, when you get to a certain point, you have to then look at going, how can I get back more time? And that is why you're so funny. You see people you know, and they're paying for stuff. Like, you know, me and you spoke about this over the years, and like, it's like when you first come into business, and I know me and you are both similar to this when we started, it's like, you want how much to do what? You want this to do what? And then you start realizing when you reach a certain level, you're like, oh, okay, what you're doing is getting me 10 hours back or 5. And that 10 hours. Well, in that 10 hours, it might cost me, say, 10 grand to pay you to do that, but I could make 30 in that. It's a really weird.
Yeah, it's like
thing.
my accounting started, like, obviously when like, say, when my commissions come in, I've got to tick them off against like the clients that I've covered. I could sometimes spend an hour to 2 hours sitting with Keogh, me and Keogh. He'd be looking at one spreadsheet, I'd be looking at the other. We'd be going through. It would do my head in. I hated doing it. And it takes 1 to 2 hours, maybe twice a month, right? So say 2 hours. My accountant now does that for me. Yeah, it costs me an extra 150 quid a month. And he does it, but he does it for all the staff, and he covers me. And if you'd have asked me a year ago if that was worth it, I'd have went, no, I'm not paying someone 150 quid for something I can do.
No, it's like, absolutely.
Now it's like, yeah, because if I can spend those extra couple of hours a month doing content, then I will be richer time-wise and money-wise.
And it's very true. But it's a really hard thing to let go, because I have it with my accountant, was that for ages I was like, I'll do it with him, but then maybe I'll be able to do another thing here or sort this thing out there. And then in the end, it literally comes to a point where you go, get an expert to do it, pay them to do what you're doing. And you know what, just don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And use that time, you know, like, and I think that is, but it is I remember me and you chatting about somebody in the industry and saying like that this person pays like 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year just on coaching. But they're at different income level. And it was one of these where I was like, and I remember thinking, what? And then being like, oh no, I get it. I do get it now. Like, I spend like about 30 grand, 20 grand a year on coaching. And it's like, it's a different thing, but it's not the same as like level 1. So you're not at level 1 anymore, as we can see from where we achieved.
Transitioning and understanding like what's more valuable, your time or your money. Pardon me. And it, like, obviously the back end of last year, and then like everything that was going on personally, like I realized how important time is, and having time to be able to, like, I don't know, like today, for example, I didn't come into work till 11 o'clock, not because I didn't have stuff to do, but because I had the option. I can work from home if I want to, come in the office if I want to, I can stay late if I want to, or I can go home. And building that flexibility is come from that I've got other people who can do things for me. Like, you have to let go of that control. You have to know you're going to have to pay to be able to give someone else more responsibility. And it's amazing. In 2023, for me, especially this first half, I'm going to really, really concentrate on what can I do to be as separate as possible from the business, but growing it. So I don't want to be in it anymore. I don't want to be dealing with clients all the time. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love speaking to clients. I love that part of when you start talking to them, they don't understand insurance. And then by the end of it, they're like almost like passionate about it, and they get it. They're like, no, I really like that. Or I love the idea of that. And I really want to have this. I love doing that with people. Like, it's amazing. But in reality, if I continue to do that, I'm only ever going to be at this point. Like, I can't physically get insurance on a larger scale, create awareness on a larger scale if I'm going to continue to just speak to like clients, because there's only so much you can do, like using just social media. I want to be a lot more like, literally, my main aim in my working life is to make myself a spokesperson for insurance. And that's not going to be an overnight thing. I'm very aware that that's going to take me at least 3 to 5 years easily. So I need to put a lot of time and effort into it. But it's like when I first ever started doing videos for insurance, you know, I never used to get any leads from social media. Now my entire business is grown and built around leads on social media. Yeah. And that took 18 months. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I never forget when you said to me, stop thinking that everything's going to take you a year. Whenever you do anything, imagine it's going to take a decade. And if someone said, you know, everyone's saying that meme of if your today's you could see, you know, if your 18-year-old you could see today's you, would they be proud? And it's like, if you imagine that every decade, if my 40-year-old self could see my 30-year-old self, or vice versa, whichever way it is, would they think, well done? And that's all I'm aiming for now. Is I'm not thinking like I want to get this and this done. I'm just like, what can I do to get towards that goal? And it's going to take a long time, but I need the changes that I need to make. That's what happens in the year. That's the year.
Your consistency, though, you said this about this on our last episode, and I think it's something that's really important because I have to do that. I mean, me and you spoke about it, and you said that. I've said it to you. Is looking back and going, where are, like, in 10 years? I always do this. I'm 31. I always think, like, whenever I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, I look back and go, where was I at 21? Okay, no idea what I was doing at that point. And it's, you always have to look and go, okay, so we've made progress, and we just can we make. And usually you'll find it's a compounding interest. You'll make even more progress in the following decade than you did the decade before, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think the hardest bit, as you say, is the knowing that the consistency stuff. That's what I was chatting with someone recently, saying, like, if you're consistent at showing up and doing the things you say you're going to do every day, and you know what those controllables are, the end goal, as long as you know that where you're going to and you've broken it down, the end goal will take care of itself. Most times you will massively overshoot where you were going to go in the first place. But you have to know, and you do this very well, is that if you know what you want to do this year to reach the goal you want to do in the next decade or the next 5 years, then it's just doing those daily repetitive tasks, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's knowing that, like, this year is not going, I'm not going to achieve that goal, but this year is going to be a contribution to that end goal. So the first half of the year is my priority is to make sure that I'm no longer needed in the day-to-day, like, running of the business, that I've got staff who are successful and doing a very good job at looking after clients, and put more time into training staff, because obviously I can't train staff if I'm working and doing the same job as them. Can't do it. And I did that last year because I had to. Like, I took a lot of time off with what was going on with my grandma, and obviously the house is having a full, basically I may as well have built a new house from start to finish. It cost an absolute fortune. So, like,
cost the price of a house.
Always does this, doesn't it? Like, it pivots. Like, sometimes money's more important, sometimes time is. And last year was a massive juggle for me for time and money. So this year, I want to concentrate on what can I do to get to that end goal. And that's the reason I've been doing it all in the beginning, is because I wanted to, when I first understood insurance, like, I never thought for 1 second that my career and my passion was going to be insurance. And when I started learning about it, and when I understood how the product worked, it really clicked. And I just knew that I wanted to do something to make more people understand insurance. And it's going to be a process of a decade, but so far, the first 3 years, I think I've made a damn good job at, like, making the first foundation of it, and I've just got to continue to go towards that. So 2023 is going to be a very, very busy year, but it's not necessarily going to be based on, for me, I'm not going to be like, how many clients can I get covered? It's going to be more about how many people can I speak to? How many people can I create awareness for? How many people are going to understand insurance this year? So that's my aim for 2023.
Love it. I love it. Any parting words on this episode?
Parting words are, I hope everyone has started the new year on a very good note. And if you haven't, then restart it the next day, because everything that you do can be changed, and you just make this year as positive as possible, because, like we've said this whole episode, time is so precious. And if you're not using it wisely, you're going to regret it.
Spot on. Thank you very much.